All right. Well, good morning, everybody, again to our class. We are just going to take a moment to get kind of settled in for the day, noticing where we are in the body. You can close the eyes if you like, or you can keep them open, whatever feels more comfortable for us as we set ourselves up for another exciting day. So let's just start with a body scan. So noticing how we feel. We can do that from the top of the head to the tips of the toes. Just noticing every body part and noticing if there's any parts that feel really easy today. So maybe we feel extra space in our neck or our shoulders. Maybe we feel that space in our rib cage or our low back. Or maybe the tip of our big left toe just feels really great today. So whatever it is, just don't need any ease that we have in our body. And of course, as we're going through our body scan, we might notice some parts of the body that are talking to us, saying they need a little extra care and compassion today. So wherever that is in our body, acknowledge it. We can thank the body for sharing with us. And just remember that as we go through our practice today, we honor the body we have this morning, moving in a way that's going to create happiness and joy for the rest of our day. And just checking in with our breath this morning. Is our breath fast or slow? Is it deep? Is it shallow? With no judgment or need to change it. Just recognizing, bringing awareness to the expansion of the lungs and the softening of the lungs. And then we'll take a moment to check in with the mind, noticing any thoughts that are arising for us this morning. We feel like our mind is calm, like a pond. Just a few ripples here and there. Or maybe we feel our mind is more like the ocean. And there's no right or wrong. It just is. It's recognizing, allowing ourselves to be right here, right now, together today. Happiness is within reach. What we need to be happy is a question we often forget to ask ourselves. Is there something you could do for yourself that would make you happy, put a spring in your step, a smile in your heart? Many of us haven't asked ourselves this question enough. Some of us haven't asked it at all. Or if we haven't answered it. Instead, we diligently search for our path, for the way through our lives, through our current situation or circumstance, never taking time to ask ourselves what would make us happy and what would make us feel good. When we wonder why life feels so hard, Or then we wonder why life feels so hard, so difficult, and unrewarding. Discovering what would make us happy can help us through any difficulty in life. It can help us through the quieter moments of our day. It can help us make larger, more significant decisions. It can help us in our work, especially if we look in our hearts and answer honestly. What would make you happy? It's a simple question, but one with profound consequences. Asking and answering that question, then acting on it, is often our path. A path that will lead to the next step. A path that is in our best interests. We will be choosing our destiny, and the destiny we're choosing is joy. What would make you happy? Ask yourself often. Think about your answer. You may well find that the answer is within reach. So maybe as we bring our awareness to our intention or our affirmation for the day, maybe we want to feel happiness or joy. And maybe it's just a little glimmer of a moment, happiness, joy. So whatever it is that you feel like you need today, bring that intention to our mind, bring that intention to our body, bring that intention to our heart. And whenever we are ready, we can bat the eyelids open, and we're going to practice our Ujjayi breath or ocean breath, whisper breath, or Darth Vader breath. So I'm going to teach you a version of this, and then we're actually going to be on our belly to try it. So, but just sitting up just to kind of get the rhythm together. We're going to use our hand as a visual if you've never done this before. If you have done Ujjayi breath before, you can automatically go into that. What we're going to do is we're going to pretend that our hand is a mirror. And we are going to pretend to fog up that mirror with our breath. And we're going to start with our mouth open just so we can practice it. But we're going to take an inhale in. And on the exhale, we go in, trying to fog up our imaginary mirror. So try that just a few times for yourself. So we'll inhale together. And then we exhale. No need to force it. It's just a soft exhale. One more time. Inhale. And then we find our exhale together. So we can stick with that if you like, or what we can do is we're going to close the mouth this time. So we're going to try to create that same sound in the throat. And what we're doing is we're kind of closing slightly the back of the throat to feel a little vibration in our throat. So we'll inhale together and then exhale. Again, inhaling and then exhaling. Continuing at your own pace of the inhale and exhale. And again, it doesn't have to be anything that puts any extra strain on the throat. It doesn't mean that, 5 people away from you would be able to hear you. It's just a soft vibration within our own space. It can kind of feel hollow in a way. Like I just can always feel like my throat's a cave. And I can just like hear that soft breath within. So just taking a few more inhales and exhales for yourself, noticing how your body is reacting. Inhaling and exhale. More together. Inhale and exhale. So we can open the eyes. And we are going to come, like I said, down onto our bellies. So we're going to find our comfortable place here, taking your time. Now, of course, if you need any extra padding, like a blanket or a pillow or anything like that, you can absolutely do that. So taking our time to transition down onto our bellies for the day. And excuse me, we are going to place, if it feels comfortable for us, we can place our hands underneath our forehead as like a little pillow. And we're just going to allow pressure of our head to press gently into our third eye space, just to begin. So noticing what it feels like to be on our belly today. And maybe not a position of the body that we spend a whole lot of time on or throughout our day, or maybe we do. What does it feel like as we're on our belly? Relax into the floor, feeling our weight into our mat. Noticing the softening of any muscles. And then when we're ready, we're just going to gently rock the head side to side over our hands. Again, use as much or as little pressure as you like. Just a little movement, little rotation through our cervical spine. And if there's any tender spots as we start to roll across the forehead. And then when we're ready, we'll just find stillness. And just bring awareness to our breath. Now, you can stick with the Ujjayi breath if you like, if you felt like that was nice. And sometimes being in kind of a smaller internal physical space, we might be able to bring our awareness a little bit more internal as well. So we can go back to the Ujjayi breath, or you can just simply observe your breath in whichever way you like this morning. So take our time and let's just do a couple of breath cycles, whether that's the Ujjayi breath or just our regular breath. But notice, what does it feel like to breathe when we're on our belly? It's really going to change up the anatomy, right? Because now also we have something pressing on the front of our body that's going to change how we breathe. So we start to, add different pressures in, whether physically, emotionally, or mentally. It's going to shift things. So what does it physically feel like when we add pressure into the front of our belly as we breathe? Maybe we start to feel the breath in a different part of the body. Again, our body is very adaptive. Just like, and when things arise that are unexpected in our lives, we adapt. We find ways to work with and through them. And our body is a symbol of that. So where do we start to feel the breath around our belly this morning? And wherever you are, taking one more cycle of breath, feeling the inhale and the long exhale. So, and then we're just going to start to rock the pelvis side to side. So starting to stir up the energy a little bit in our belly. You might even feel a little massage on our quadriceps as we rock side to side. And moving in a rhythm, a pace, a range of motion that feels really good for us this morning. So, what would make our body happy in this moment? Maybe moving slowly and really small would make our body happy, or maybe bigger movements is what we're asking, or what our body is needing. So, listening to the body, what would make us happy here? And just gentle rocking of the hips side to side. And then when we're ready, we'll just find stillness there, see how that feels. And we're gonna bend the knees on up. And we're just gonna take a little flex of the ankle joint, and then we're gonna stretch the feet. And again, flexing and pointing. Checking back in with our breath, flexing and pointing the feet. And let's add some circles in if that feels good for the ankle joints. In one direction. And then shifting to the other side. Slowly and gently say good morning to our feet. And then we're going to crunch the toes. So crunch the toes as much as you can, and then we're going to spread out the toes as much as we can. And again, crunching the toes in. So squeeze, 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 and then release. And again, squeeze, 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 and release. Wonderful. And then we'll slowly bring the feet back down. Let's place the hands closer to our shoulders, or if you like, we can also be on our forearms. So again, what will make ourselves happy here is we can adjust too. Just because we're in one spot doesn't mean we have to stick with that. Excuse me. So wherever we feel our arms want to be, we're just going to start to bring in a little easy swaying of the upper body. So our hips are nice and planted, the legs are heavy. We're going to start to move from our lumbar spine on up. So what does that feel like as we start to bring in this kind of swaying wave through our side body? And again, we can adjust the arms as we like. So it might feel better to be higher up. Might feel better to be all the way down and just inviting small movement in this way. So making choices for ourselves, there's no wrong here at all. Just starting to bring in movement in the torso that would make our bodies nice and happy. And checking in fast, is it slow, big or small? And then when we're ready, we'll just allow ourselves to settle back down for one moment. Checking back in with the body, noticing what comes up in our body, noticing our breath, noticing our mind compared to just a few minutes ago. Do we have any shifts? Do we have any new awareness? And then whenever we're ready, we're going to come up to our forearms here, relaxing the shoulders down and back, coming into an easy extension. And then we're going to allow, our eyes again to look over our left shoulder to start with. Just an easy little look of the eyes to the left. Take a deep inhale and a long exhale. One more time, deep inhale and a long exhale. We'll come back to center and then we'll take it to the other side, allowing the eyes to look over to the right. And it might be a little small look at the head as well. Finding a deep inhale and a long exhale. And a deep inhale. And a long exhale. And then releasing, coming back to center. And again, dropping ourselves easily down to our bellies. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to do a little opposition of the body. So we're going to have our arms like comfortably in front of us, kind of bent here, but they don't have to be right underneath. And we're going to bend our left knee and we're going to extend our right arm out straight. So just feeling the opposition of the body here. So we have opposite leg bent as we reach the opposite arm out. See what it feels like as we have on this side two bent arms, or two bent arms, excuse me, bent arm and bent leg on the same side, and then we have the reach on the right arm and then the extension on the right leg. See what that feels like in the body as we start to experience what that feels like to have kind of this crunching on one side and lengthening on the other. And we're going to switch that out. So now we're going to bend the right knee, bend the right elbow, and then extend the left arm as we extend that left leg. And the head can just relax down. It can be straight forward, wherever we need to be. We're just starting to bend and stretch and lengthen through one side of the body as we contract through the other. Feeling the breath. And then we'll allow ourselves to come back in. And now we're just going to alternate as we need. So what does it feel like to kind of have this, like we're kind of crawling, right? That's kind of what we're thinking of. We can go fast or slow, and we can move our hips as we need to, big, small, but just a little movement through that body as we start to kind of imagine that we're crawling for the first time without moving. Unless you want to start crawling around the room, you can. But what does that feel like as we start to invite this movement pattern that we knew so well as a child of crawling? And you start to bring that back into the body. And again, we can make any movements bigger or smaller. So as we're going through this, I know my low back is kind of wanting a little extra. So you can take your time there. Just a few more movements here. Again, very organic, right? There's no specific shape here. It's just kind of moving through that body, allowing the muscles to start to coordinate, allowing the body to move in a way that makes us feel happy. All right, and then whenever we're ready, we're going to come all the way, roll onto our side. We'll be on the mat a lot today. So as we come onto the side, whichever side you want to start with, we're going to allow our head just to relax on our bicep if that feels comfortable. And we'll have the other hand placed on the floor in front of us. And we're going to stack the hips on top of one another. So when you look down at your knees, we're going to see that they are in alignment together as much as we can. And what we're going to do is, again, just small movements, but we're going to start with the top hip. And we're going to think about pulling that back hip backwards. So now our knees are not going to be in alignment. So there's a little bit of a rotation here in that lumbar spine. And then we're going to slide that knee forward. So now the knee is going to be over the bottom knee. And then again, we're going to inhale as we pull that femur back. So we're bringing the leg back. And again, that might create a little bit more opening through our shoulders. And then we're going to allow that femur to slide forwards. There we might start to bring ourselves a little bit closer to the ground. So moving in a range of motion. And again, within our own rhythm that feels nice. Make our body happy. So we inhale and exhale as we contract. And we inhale to open. And you might notice that you want to go bigger as you start to move through that. Or maybe you want to stay nice and small, whatever it is. So we're just moving that femur. So we're sliding that thigh bone on top of the other to create a little bit of space and ease within our sacrum and our pelvis. Exhale to close it in. Inhale to open. We might invite more of a rotation. So we start to bring that femur back. And then coming forward one last time. So evening yourself out. And then we're going to come back into stacked knees. Now, of course, at any point, if you need to come off your arm and adjust, you can. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to keep the feet together, and we're going to open up the knees just a little bit, and then we're going to bring it all down. Then we're going to bring the knees together, and then we're going to separate the feet. So just a few flows here. So we'll inhale as we lift that leg up, feet together. And then we're going to exhale as we press the knees together and just a little separation of our feet. Making the movement as big or as small as you like, moving with your breath. Inhaling. And then exhale. So you might feel some ease in your low back. You might feel be some opening through the hip in a way that feels really nice, whatever. Or maybe we don't feel anything, whatever it is. Just moving at our own pace here. Pressing those knees. And we'll do one more. So inhaling to lift. And then exhale, bring the knees together and separating the feet. Awesome. And now from here, we're going to take our top arm and we're going to extend it above us. And then we're going to reach that top leg out. So long stretch on our side body, feeling our fingertips all the way down to our toes. Big, big stretch, big lateral stretch here. And then we're going to gently bring that leg back in. So as we bring the elbow in, the knee is going to come in as well. And then we'll do that again. We'll extend the arm out, the top arm out, extending that top leg out. Finding an inhale. And exhale, bring it on in. Now, if you like, as we extend it out again on our side, we can even extend that bottom leg as well. So now we're in a full stretch on our side body. Now, of course, you can always use our hand to kind of balance us here. Use your other arm as you need, but what does it feel like to stretch on the side body? Take a big inhale. And exhale, slowly bring that all back in. Again, moving as we need to. So coming into a little side feel for a moment. And then we're going to take our top leg and we're just going to swing it forward. And then we're going to swing it on back. So we're moving in the hip socket in a way that feels nice for us. Easy with the leg swing. And then bring it back. Get no right or wrong. Just moving. Big or small. Fast or slow. Out. And then one more time, opening it through. And then closing that on off. Wonderful. All right, we're going to gently transition all the way onto our back for a moment. So coming onto our back, taking our time, and we're going to come into an X. Again, you can make your X as big or as small as you like, and the arms would also extend out. So what does it feel like in your body? You might feel, just might feel different in your low back, being we've only done one side so far. Just take note of it, be aware of it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our left arm, and our left arm is going to glide across our, right underneath our throat, like our upper chest space. And we're going to glide that hand out, and we're going to reach towards the right hand. And the bottom leg will just gently rotate. And then we're going to slowly melt all the way back to our X. And then we'll switch. So the right arm is going to glide across the upper chest, down that arm as we reach it on out. And then the bottom leg, the top leg is just going to have an easy internal rotation. And then we're going to melt ourselves all the way back down. Let's do that one more time on each side. Take your time. And there's no right here. See if we can allow the head to be heavy no matter what. Just rotating, easy, big or small as you like. And then melting ourselves back down. One more time to the other side. Reach it on out. Rotating. And then allow ourselves just to settle back down. And taking a moment to be in our X, seeing how that feels. And then we're going to transition to the other side. So you can just roll on over. I'm going to switch all the way over so that we face in the camera. So rolling onto your other side, taking our time. And we're going to start again in this open, easy kind of a side position here with the body. So the knees are going to be stacked over one another. And then we're going to allow that femur to slide. So we're pulling, gently pulling that femur back. And then we're going to gently allow it to slide forward. Again, it doesn't have to be big movement at all. I'm overemphasizing it so you can see it. We're really feeling that femur just gently reaching to the back and then bringing ourselves forward. Now, of course, if at any point you're feeling any pain or strain, you want to just ease out of that. There's no need to push through. Just noticing what does that feel like as we start to move from the pelvis and that sacrum. So finding the inhale as we pull it back. Now we might start to open up through the shoulders just a little bit more. And then on that exhale, we allow ourselves to just fold forward. Inhaling. And exhaling. Moving in a way that's going to make our body feel happy. Inhaling. And exhaling. Let's do one more together. Inhale as we pull it back. Exhale as we slide it forward. And we'll come back to center, stacking the knees together. And then we're going to do our little clamp. So we're going to inhale, pressing the feet together. And then we're going to press the knees together as we separate the feet. And again, inhaling to lift. And we'll exhale as we press the knees together, gently, of course. Just easy. Feet can be relaxed. Inhaling to lift. And exhaling as you press the knees together. Just opening up. Let's do one more. Relax into the shoulder joints. Inhale. And exhale as we bend. Well, then we're going to come into our side extension. So reaching the top arm all the way over towards the head. Now, of course, we can always have a bend whenever we need. And then we're going to extend that leg out. So feeling the stretch to the side body, this opening through the side body. And we can adjust as we need. Depending how we're feeling on the floor. Big inhale, and then exhale, we'll bring that knee in and the elbow. And then again, finding the extension as we reach it on out. Opening up through the side body. Noticing where our breath is at. Noticing where our mind is at. And then bringing that knee back in as we bend the elbow. One more time this time if we want, we can extend that bottom leg as well. So we come into a straight stretch. Again, no wrong here. So if we want to invite any movement in, we always can do that. Find that big stretch. Oh, I need to yawn with that one. That feels good. And then we'll slowly bring ourselves all the way back in. And then we're going to do our leg swing here. So the top leg is just going to gently swing forward. And then gently little reach all the way back, opening up through that hip. Again, no wrong here. So moving in a way that feels good in that hip socket, that feels good in our lower backs. Big or small, fast or slow. And one Once we've evened ourselves out, we're going to come all the way back onto our backs. So take your time here to allow ourselves to settle on in. We can plant the feet if we like, if that feels good. Taking a moment to recognize any shifts, any movement. We'll place the hands on our belly. On our belly, let's just bring our intention back to our focus here. So what was that intention that you set for yourself this morning? Can we feel it in our body? Thinking about the inhale as we bring in new. The exhale, we let go of the old. And the belly rise and fall. And then when we're ready, we'll bring our knees into our chest. So placing the hands behind the knees, and we can invite in a little gentle sway of the hips side to side. Maybe there's even a little circle if that feels nice on your sacrum. So take our time here to bring in any movement that our body is really craving. Body is saying, hey, this would make me feel really happy right now. So when we're ready, we're going to plant the feet on down. We're going to come into a little bridge flow. So pressing into all four corners of our feet, pressing the hands down as well. And we'll just slowly tilt the pelvis up off the floor, peeling one vertebra at a time. And then we'll slowly bring ourselves all the way back down to the floor. And again, inhaling to lift. Exhaling to release. Inhaling to lift the pelvis. And exhale to release. Now this time we're going to add in a little movement of the arms, and we're going to literally brush off our legs. So as we're pressing up, we're going to brush from the belly, and then we're going to release it all the way down. So maybe for us, this is kind of like releasing something we don't need anymore. And we can brush as quick or as fast as we like. Movement doesn't have to be super big with the pelvis, but it's just starting to kind of like brush. Let's bring some movement, some action into it. Maybe it feels good to start from the low back and go underneath the glutes and then brush off from our hamstrings. So whatever it is, just kind of slow movement, small movement, but just brushing some stuff off here. Brush it off. Maybe the arms start to circle a little bit bigger as we start to brush it off. Bringing and inviting in some bigger action here. Wonderful. Oh, excuse me, head, bigger brush. Wonderful. And then when we're ready, we'll bring those knees back into the chest. And rocking side to side, checking in with the hips. How do they feel? How's that low back feel? And then we'll keep our right knee in. We're going to extend the left leg long. We can always have it planted on the floor, or we can find that full extension out. Relaxing through the shoulders, down and back. Just taking a moment here as we move through that hip socket as well, so we can start to move that femur, maybe in some circles, maybe big, maybe small. Moving in a range of motion that feels right for us this morning. And then when we're ready, we'll bend and switch, bringing in the opposite leg and extending it out, or we can have it planted on the floor as well. And then same thing here. Inviting in some small movement. Noticing what it feels like in that hip socket, especially as we've been doing some more gentle movement through the pelvis. We might realize there's maybe some more space here. There's more ease. Or maybe not. All good too. And then we'll switch it out. So let's find our inhale as we bring the knee in. Exhale and switch. Inhale and switch. And exhale, switch. Moving around, inhaling in. And exhale, switch it out. Again, moving in a way that's going to make our body space. Also, bring both knees in one more time, rock side to side. All right, and then bending the knees, sending the legs on up. And we're just gonna start to shake. So we're gonna shake off any fog that we might have right now, any residual energy we don't need. So as we start to go through our day, let's start to bring in a little bit more energy here and start to kind of shake off. Shake it, shake it, shake it off. Let it all go. Ooh, all right, wonderful. And then we'll just gently place the feet on down. And then we're gonna roll onto our side to come to a seated position. So take our time, come into that fetal position. And then we'll roll ourselves, or gently bring ourselves all the way up to a comfortable seat. All right. Oh, gotta take a moment to let all that settle this morning. Okay, so here we are in the seated position. You could be in cross-legged, you can move your legs around this way, like whatever we need to do, be in a comfortable position for our bodies today. But we're gonna start with brushing. So we're gonna just have a little, you can, excuse me, depends on how much pressure you like on your body, but we can just start to brush some energy down the shoulder and into the fingertips. So we're gonna start to brush all of this away, maybe even from underneath the armpit. And again, giving as much or as little pressure as you would like this morning. So thinking again, like what is that we can kind of like brush away? What can we get rid of today that we don't need anymore? Let that go so we can create space for new. And then we'll switch to the other side. So going down the other shoulder, forearm, underneath with the armpit, brushing all the way through the fingers. Checking in with the breath here as we're brushing. Awesome. And then starting from the neck on down through the chest. So the front of the neck, back of the neck, brush, brush, brush. Again, clearing space, clearing away stuff we don't need anymore. And it goes down into the rib cage, to the belly, side belly, the back as much as we can reach here, the low back, brush it all the way. Getting rid of some of that stagnant energy, right? And then coming through our quads. So quads down the knees, down through the ankles, tops of the feet, go from underneath as well, go back into the glutes, down to the hamstrings, through the calves, and then maybe even through the bottoms of the feet as well, or not too ticklish. And then down the other leg, quad, hamstring, glutes, down through the lower leg, through the tops of the feet, bottoms of the feet. Right, letting that all go. Noticing how you feel. Might need to do a little shake there too. Let that shake out. All right, then we're gonna invite just little tapping. So it's like little raindrops. You can start at the top of the head, maybe moving through the forehead and the temples, down the cheeks, noticing any sensitive spots. And again, we can use as much or as little pressure as we like here. Into the ears, just little raindrops all around our head. So we can let that go as well. And then we're going to do a little exercise, skin, muscle, and bone. So kind of staying in that same vein, but now we're going to start to kind of like think about like just gentle squeezes. And we're going to start with skin. So this is where we're going to feel like we're going to attempt to just like gently squeeze just the skin of our body. Okay. So it's going to feel different for everybody, but we're starting very superficial. So think about just like squeezing just the skin. And go down through here and very gentle to start with. Sometimes we need really the subtle things that we do. It doesn't always have to be this really big, you know, big squeeze or a contraction of a muscle. Sometimes really subtle touch and really start to shift some things. So what does that feel like if we just gently, just like we're trying to only squeeze the skin, which I know can be hard to do, right? What does that feel like? Just the skin as we move down her body. Again, as we go, we might notice some extra spots that are sensitive. All right, so now the next part is muscle. So this is where we give ourselves a little bit more pressure. So here we are trying to get a little bit more into the muscle itself. So we're going to try to not go as deep as feeling bone. We're just feeling the muscle. Now, if just that skin felt good, then stick with that. Again, it's about what would make our body happy here as we start to squeeze the muscles a little bit. Just the muscles. And you might feel spots that really enjoy some soft touch, and there might be some spots that enjoy that deeper touch. Just noticing. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze through the muscles of the body. All right. And then when you're ready, we are going to squeeze the bone. So now we're actually giving a lot more pressure. Now, of course, that means we are listening to our own body. We're listening to the amount of pressure that we like and that would feel good for us. So there's no need to, create any pain. It's more about just creating some pressure in the bones themselves, squeezing through the bones and noticing what that feels like for us in our body today. Get on the rib cage. And we can feel that pelvis. Can attempt to go for that femur, right? Probably won't be able to get that deep, but it's the intention. Through that lower leg, definitely the bones of the feet. Legs for sure. And then when we're ready, we'll just take a moment to come back into that easy seated position and notice how we feel. Notice any energetic flow, any movement that used to, or any movement in a space that used to feel stagnant. And then whenever we're ready, we're just gonna start coming through a cat-cow flow for ourselves. So finding movement pattern that feels right for us. So inhaling as we find our extension. Exhale as we find our flexion. Inhaling extension into our cow. And exhale into our cat. And then we're going to start to create some circles. We're going to start stirring it up pretty quick today. So allowing ourselves to stir up that energy in a comfortable way, in an easy way, moving within our range of motion. And then reversing it, going in the opposite direction, rounding through. Moving with our breath and just stirring up any stagnant energy again as we're starting to make some changes, bringing new things into our lives. We got to be able to create space. Can't keep holding everything in that one spot. You'll never be able to make change. So inviting a little sway side to side with that upper body as well. Energetically, we can think about clearing any spaces in our body. So that way we can bring in that new intention. And then we'll just find an easy rotation. Side to side, again, nothing too big. Just moving ourselves moving in and with our breath. And then we'll again just find a moment of stillness. Feeling any residual movement. Bringing a big inhale in. Long exhale out. Inhaling in our intention. Exhaling. More time, big inhale of our intention. Long exhale out. Wonderful. All right, so taking our time to come into our final relaxation. So if we want to be in traditional Shavasana, we can do that. Laying down on our back. Maybe we want to be seated today. Maybe we even want to be standing and walking around. So all the options are available. So taking our time to get settled for our final meditation. So making ourselves comfortable, and we're going to close our eyes if you like. Take a slow, deep breath and let go of any tension as we feel ourselves sinking into the surface we're resting on, becoming still more comfortable and relaxed. Take another slow, deep breath and release our thoughts, letting them drift far away. And take another slow, deep breath and know that in this moment, all is well. Imagine all the energy we've sent out into the world over the last few days is coming gently back to us, like the last parts of a puzzle coming into place. And as our energy returns, we begin to feel more whole, more like ourselves. Imagine a column of golden white light streaming down from the highest heavens, surrounding, filling, and protecting us, and going deep into the earth, all the way to the earth's core. This light is here to facilitate our clearing at the deepest level and will allow anything we might release to be transmuted with love. Feel and visualize this light as it penetrates every part of our body, mind, and spirit. And call upon any spiritual figures or allies we feel connected to help support our inner work now. Bring our focus into our spiritual heart in the center of our chest. Our heart is a place to connect deeply within, find peace, and receive guidance from above. And it's the ideal place for us to be now, clearing. Become aware of our inner climate and any feelings we may be experiencing. Notice whether we might feel sad, angry, worried, anxious, guilty, or upset in any other way. Consider whether there's anyone we might have conflict with or concern about. And consider whether there's any particular situation that's been bothering us, past or present. Now refocus in on our heart and simply be present with whatever feelings we've discovered. Those are the feelings that are coming up to clear. Begin to breathe deeply and slowly. Take very full, deep breaths as we breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth. Place one hand on our belly and notice whether our belly moves in and out with your breath. As you breathe in, let your belly expand, pushing out our hand. And as we breathe out, let our belly relax. As we continue to breathe in this deep, even rhythm, stay present with the feelings we need to clear and stay in our heart. Don't try to analyze, justify, argue with, or control the feelings. Simply observe them, stay in our heart, and breathe. Take some time to practice this. Remember that the feelings we're experiencing are just stuff within us coming up to clear. It's not us, nor does it define us. It's only some baggage we've accumulated by being human, as we all do. Breathe, don't try to think about or control it, and remain neutral toward it. By not adding judgment to it or making it a part of ourselves, it has nothing to cling to, and our system can allow it to release, as it's doing right now. The key is neutrality. Even though it's a feeling within us, we can still stay neutral toward it. Observe it, breathe it, and let it naturally dissipate as we're doing. Take some more time to practice this now. Refocus our heart center and become aware again of the column of light surrounding and filling us, and of any spiritual allies or figures you're invited to be with you. Consider one thing in our lives that we feel grateful for, and focus on that for a few moments. Now take some time to continue to focus in on our heart and simply receive love coming in into us from the inside and the outside. Quietly receive, breathe, let go, and receive more. Check our inner climate again and notice whether what we were clearing before is still there or if it has diminished, gone away. And throughout the day, when we notice something coming up within us to clear, simply be present with it, breathe, stay neutral, and allow it to pass through. And reminding ourselves that we must clear away the old, clear away the stagnant and the stuck in order to bring forth new. So as we've cleared away that emotion or that story or that event, let's replace that with our intention. Feeling that in our body, feeling that in our mind, feeling it in our heart. And wherever we are, allowing ourselves to gently transition back to this physical space today. Start by wiggling the fingers and wiggling the toes. Maybe starting to invite bigger movement into our elbows and our knees. When we're ready, rolling onto one side of our body. And gently pressing ourselves up to an easy seated position, allowing the head to be the last thing to arrive. When we're ready, we'll gently place our hands together by our heart space, taking a moment of gratitude for ourselves for showing up here today. And then we'll hinge forward, allowing our hands to touch in front of us, connecting to the earth, reminding ourselves that we are connected to everyone and everything that's ever graced our planet. Bringing ourselves back up into our heart space, feeling our heartbeat in a moment of gratitude. Opening the palms up towards the sky as a reminder we are connected to all of the energy in this entire universe. All of that love, compassion, and wisdom gets funneled right back into our own heart space, feeling our heartbeat. Bringing our intention back into our heart space. Feel it like it already exists. Bringing the palms up to our third eye. And the light me honors the light mirror. Namaste.